Dr. Sami, good afternoon. It's real a pleasure to have this talk with you. And by the way, for us, it's not a new thing because we used to chat a lot and we used to share the concerns and the solutions that can help us to have a better life or can have a better approach to the professional challenges. And then the matter, the subject that you put in place is very, very interesting, very interesting. Independently the level of the level of deepness you can go with this matter, independently how you can use, I think our listeners in the future, they will really enjoy this conversation. So you select the team of marketing in a research and development organization. This is very interesting. So I will start to ask you why you select this one, Doctor.
Good afternoon, Amancio. It's really nice to be here, and it's good to see you. I remember the discussion that you and I used to have a lot about the center, and you know that our center is one of the few research and development organizations in the government of Saudi Arabia. And since you told me that this talk is an exchange of knowledge and information, I thought I'll take this opportunity and I'll try to grasp some of your knowledge on this subject, because I'm sure you know a lot about marketing from your previous experience. And the reason why I selected this theme is because it is a major pain area for, I believe, most research and development organizations around the world, because I think marketing and sales is very well defined for profitable companies and businesses, yet for research and development organizations, it's not very well defined, it's not very well understood. Sometimes, the return on investments is not as clear as it is for a regular profitable business. So I thought it would be a nice subject that you and I chat about this afternoon.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And to add to that line of thoughts, it's very interesting to understand also how the mandate of the center should be put in place. Because as you said, at the end of the day, your customers, your key stakeholders or your shareholders are basically the public sector, or basically the defense and security services. So
right.
This is the first point that I want to pick your brain, because depending the way should be your organizational behavior face this mandate, you can do different things. Let me pick your brain one or two options that to see what you think. If you start to understand what solutions should we, at the end of the day, should we deliver to our stakeholders, you'll see for sure some of them are related with the effectiveness of that sector. For example, when you make the radars, we are concerned about to monitoring the security of the airspace or the sea space. Is real delivery, help them to deliver their mandate, their missions, is one thing. So when you research these kind of things to that kind of applications. But if you talk also about efficiency, perhaps you can also make some research and development on some technology to help the customers to be more efficient how deliver the service. For example, logistic and operations movement of the military, for example, okay, is help them with the new solutions for their efficiency or for their effectiveness. What do you think?
Well, the problem, I think, starts from the nature of the customer. Okay, so you talked about the mandate. I think the mandate is fairly clear, very precise mandate. You know that your reason for existence is to help improve the defense industry in the country, support the private sector to develop products, to help your end users in applying technology in defense sector. So the mandate is quite clear. But now, as they say, the devil is in the detail. I mean, first of all, to do proper research that is going to be effective, you need to start from requirements from your clients. And that's usually the first hurdle, is that the clients will not give you the requirements that you expect, because the clients are, fighting in front lines. They are used in getting all their military hardware from major defense contractors. Usually, they would follow the trend of where the arms development are, happening, and they would try to purchase the latest, and greatest technologies. So when you ask them that you want to start a new research project, that they have to wait like 3 to 5 years for an outcome, and usually that outcome is not even ready to be used in the field, and it still needs to go through industry, and it's the technology readiness level of your product will be less than the industry grade product that they are used. So that immediately is a turn off for your clients, and then they will immediately start walking away from you because they don't understand how to work with you. This is what I talk about when I say marketing. How do I market a research organization to my end user? How do I tell them that no, we are not a major defense contractor, we are not a Boeing or a Lockheed Martin. We cannot just show you a catalog and you will select from the catalog and we will just ship you products. You have to think future wise. You have to think what challenges you will face after 5 years, after 10 years, so that we can start working on that problem for you to solve right now. Don't give me a problem that is 10 years old. I cannot do research on something that's 10 years old. I need to understand what challenges you expect after 10 or 20 years. And that's always a problem. You can see now that the language is different between us and our clients.
Yeah, I understand that. This means that also, in some way, you need to also understand their internal, I would say that their internal process or their internal way they do the things. Not only because of not only how to they manage the workforces or they manage equipment, but also how they deploy that, how they deliver it. So if you understand how they do the things, most probably you can understand also, you can focus on the technology research that you need to put in place to help them to be more efficient or to be more effective. Of course, this is one point. Another point is you always can also, I think you used to do, is understand what are the trends, specific trends that have a short-term outcome, and then try to localize that short-term trends in your research. Because you told me that normally this thing can take 5 years to come up with a product, to come up a final product can be put in place. But can you short that time? Can you have a solution, a product can be ready to be used in 6 to 1 year and focus on that short-term applied technology? Do you think it's possible to do that?
If we are in the IT business, Amancio, I can probably say yes. In the IT business, you can develop an app, you can write a software, you can, build, a small router or whatever in maybe 6 months or a year. But I mean, internationally, if you look at any defense organization, usually, the shortest project will last about 18 months to 24 months. This is the shortest. I mean, just going through the documentation and the design is usually that's 1 year before you start even building and integrating the products. Defense is quite, space and defense are the two, sectors that you have to be patient, because you're working with the latest technologies, So
But you don't,
it's,
Doctor, let me interrupt you there. But don't you think that these deserve perhaps a deeper thought process, and perhaps we can break that assumption. Perhaps you can, because as I think that in some way you don't need to develop a specific technology. You can be an innovative assembler of technology. So my challenge to you is, if you can broke this assumption, it takes 1.5 year and 2 years to do, and to do that, you break that assumption. Perhaps you have a better approach to the customer. I don't know. I'm just challenging you.
well, I think if you look around, I mean, Amancio, defense products usually they would last like, over 10 years of. I mean, look at some of the latest fighters that have been in the design, like the F-35. How long it took, to develop, and the amount of people and resources. Defense products, and aerospace products. I think you cannot really short circuit. It's a very complex integrated system that takes many disciplines. You face many difficulties along the way. I cannot see any way that we could short circuit this. It's just now, I think we need to think differently. I'm surprised that not many people are publishing or trying to give us more knowledge of how do you solve this dilemma of R&D organizations and interfacing with their clients, especially in the defense. When you're talking to the soldier that don't understand the complexity of the technology that he's using in his hands.
That means also that instead of at the same time you work with your customers to define the requirements, and if it takes time to convince them, why you don't go to the providers, the big providers that become their lab in KSA to localize their products? Because I understand that the aircraft takes 5 to 7 years to be designed, and takes more 2 to 3 years to sell, assuming the guys have enough view of the future to design the right aircraft. But the aircraft have many components, and I hear many stories here in KSA that some defense equipments they are being improved by local ideas to be more fit to the local conditions in the country. So another option is instead to work with the customers to define, is become the lab of the global providers for a specific technology or for a specific assembler. I don't know. I'm just picking your brain, no? Because I understand the timing. But for me, doctor, time to market is crucial here.
That's true.
It's too crucial. So you need to go or for the customers, or convince the customers, or create or influence the policies, assuming that your research is only technology. Is not more than that. Okay. And then you have another option is to work with the big suppliers. Say, guys, I'm your key partner in KSA. And by the way, KSA represents for you X billion dollars of business. So, and I have the letter from my Minister of Defense to tell me that I can speak in their behalf, no? For example, no? So the part of the what to sell is, I think you should be on that way, yeah? Anyway.
But the Amancio, this requires policies and regulations in the country. And we are very hopeful that now, since the establishment of the General Authority for Military Industries, GAMI, as you know, now they are starting to put regulations in place to help the research organizations work more effectively with international providers. Because as you said, working with an international provider is very critical. But there were no regulations in place to force these defense contractors to work with local, R&D organizations. Though they used to avoid, even speaking with R&D organizations because they have to reveal their designs, they have to disclose their intellectual property so that we could improve, as you say, or or customize their product to our environment. But it needs, a lot of government regulations, to help them, come closer to us.
And even government to government actions, because the government of that technology providers, they also need to help them to take the advantage of these opportunities. And this is also very important. By the way, Doctor, do you have a place on that table of define the policies and regulations? Are you a key player in the influence of the regulators to shape in the best way these policy regulations?
Yes, they involve us in workshops and brainstorming session, but we do not have like an official vote or in their committees. So they just pick our brains, and we have many workshops with GAMI, but then they issue their regulations, and they usually ask us for feedback. Recently they just published their defense science and technology strategy, and they had a session during Ramadan, about 2 weeks ago, where they involved like more than 70 people from different universities and research centers, and they tried to get some feedback from us.
But do you think there is also the possibility to, in order to have a better time to market of this kind of results, time to results, let me call it a different way, time to results, the creation of those petit committee or small committees that don't involve too many people but involve the right people in shaping the way, at least is like you prepare the road, and then others can come and put the right cover for the roads or the right painting. But the roads, you participate in the roads, you know what is under the road, you know what is the rocks you put there, the drain system, you prepare this, then others can come and beautify the things. Because I'm serious, I have serious doubt of effectiveness of these large workshops with many entities. At the end of the day, the time to market, the time to results is not effective, in my opinion. But anyway, I'm just giving you my opinion. This is a talk, okay? So
and Amancio, I think the end user, the customer, should be in those committees, on these boards. I mean,
sure.
you have to bring the customer in, and you have to educate the customer, and you have to tell him what R&D is all about, and how he should think of R&D, and he should think long term. Officers usually they think, in maybe 1 to 3 years span, because that's usually the time that they are in their post before they move to another post, or so they always think very, very short term. And whenever you talk about 5 years from now, you will get very pale faces from officers. They want something in 6 months time.
Can I suggest you something? I believe that you have in the organization a kind of key account manager, no? People that take care of specific kind of customer, because the specifics of their business or the specific of the requirements is different from others. Okay, so what you think, instead to have a key account management, where do you have an office inside the organization that is your customer? So like you become part of their own structure. It's like a outsource, but inside, no? It's like inshore, no? Insource and be office there to work with them, to prepare them, become kind of a business excellence from them, and based on that, you know better than you can guess what are the best approaches and the time to results. And sometimes, to finalize my comment, is even perhaps, Doctor, you need to do something that are not really related to your mandate, that can help a lot to speed up your mandate. For example, perhaps you need to have a kind of a small branch in the terms of IT to help them to do something that later on can help you to be ready and open to your suggestion in terms of a new technologies related to the main missions. No? This can be also an idea because I really believe that you need to be inside. You need to totally inside your customer. If not, it will be very difficult, as you said, to enlighten them. No?
I think that's a very good idea, and most of our clients actually are very very encouraging in this, because some of our clients, for example, the Air Force, they actually have set up offices inside the headquarters, and they told us to actually have some of our staff use these offices, and they even put our logo on these offices.
Exactly.
Yes. So they would welcome a step like this. The problem is that it needs a lot of resources, Amancio. As you know, we are small organizations, and we have about maybe 5 people that are covering all the accounts for all the military sectors. And the military sectors, if you talk about the artillery people, if you talk about the infantry, if you talk about the Air Force, the electronic warfare. So there are organizations in Tabuk, there are organizations in Khamis Mishet, there are organizations in Dhahran, there are organizations in Hafr al-Batin, they're all over Saudi Arabia. I mean, we will need a team of like 40 or 50 people distributed all over so that we can be effective. So that's why we decided that we will not follow this approach of putting people inside the organizations of the customers, because basically of the lack of resources that we have.
If you go and see Lockheed, you see even the Boeing, the General Electric, you see the guys are doing the research in behalf of the government. They do that. The government don't have these kind of things.
But that's only the United States.
Yeah.
Look at almost all other countries. You will find that the R&D is central in the government.
Yes.
In France, in the UK, in Russia, and China. I mean, usually it's only the United States that have managed to have these major defense contractors that have over 100,000 of employees with huge R&D divisions that could afford to do this. And also, in addition to that, in the United States, there is the Air Force Research Lab, there is the Army Research Lab, there is the Navy Research Lab. There are many also government research labs that also supporting the R&D in the defense. So it's not only the private sector and the contractors. But you cannot use the United States as I use it as an exception, not as the rule.
But you see, in France, they are making they are separate these bodies to manage be even public, but as a companies. I remember that the Navy equipment. There is a company, by the way, we work with them in France. That is they have a private approach. So they make a kind of it's not a privatization, but it's a kind of a spin-off, and they create a company to take care of that. Again, it's the same thing. But here the issue is that in PSA, I think you have a double challenge. Is not only to the resources to have more people working under the center, but also find enough people to work under the center, because yourself should be also a kind of academy. You also need to train them, educate them. So this timing is like you have two heads in the body. One part of the body need to take care of the future, train the people, make research, and another part of the body need to look into the present and respond to the requirements they have. No, and these are very very, very complicated thing.
But when you think about, the 4 P's of marketing, the product, the price, the promotion, and the distribution channels, the place.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at these 4 P's and you try to apply to defense R&D, say, what should be our products? Is it the technologies and, the traders and this, or is it some services that you said, logistics or whatever? When you talk about the price, I mean, what kind of price? Should you just, use cost plus kind of pricing, or should you try to use reduced market price, or maybe you should give them all your product for free because you are government supported labs, or, when you talk about promotion, how do you promote? I mean, you cannot just, use regular advertisement channels. And distribution, I mean, should you go through some private sector companies to distribute your technology to the client, or you should go to the client directly? So, I mean, all these marketing norms are not very well, I think, thought of in the area of defense R&D. You agree?
Yeah, I agree. So thank you very much, Sam. It was a real pleasure to talk with you, and hope to see you soon, face to face. I hope not will be by video. Okay.
I think it's very soon. We're very hopeful here. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amancio. Thank you for giving me the chance to speak with you.